Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining tonight. I am so pleased that you could join us for the continuation of our 2021 event series, Campus Connections. I'm Jay Davenport, Vice President of Development and Alumni Relations at VCU. Tonight, I want to first welcome all of you who are part of our Founders Society, the Heritage Society, the MCV Society, the President's Club, the Black and Gold Loyalty Society, the VCU Alumni Life Membership Society, our parent and family donors, and the generous supporters of the College of Humanities and Sciences. You are an important part of the VCU community, and we are so excited to include you in this evening and offer you this exclusive opportunity to learn more about one of our nationally acclaimed academic institutions, the VCU College of Humanities and Sciences. Yeah. Now, before we start tonight, I do have a few housekeeping notes. Tonight's event is being recorded, and we will share a link with you after the event is complete. We also invite your comments and questions, so please locate the question and answer chat box on the bottom of your screen. If you think of a question at any point, just type it in there, and I will answer these during the question and answer portion near the end of our event. Also, captions are available by clicking on the three dots or the More button at the bottom of your Zoom panel. And if you choose to do this, you'll have a live transcript of the recording. Now, the VCU College of Humanities and Sciences is the foundation of all educational and intellectual life at VCU, housing the core disciplines in the natural sciences, the social sciences, and humanities. It's home to 2 schools, 17 departments, 5 centers and institutes, and 3 programs, including the Humanities Research Center. 4 out of our top 5 largest undergraduate majors are in the Humanities and Sciences College, and more than half of all VCU undergraduates have at least one major in the college. Currently, construction is underway for the college's new Science, Technology, and Math building, a 168,000 square foot facility, 6-floor building at the site of what was VCU's former Franklin Street Gym. The STEM classroom building, which is slated to open in the spring of 2023, will provide additional classrooms, study space, as well as laboratories where students can get hands-on experience putting the knowledge they receive in the classroom into practice. We'll hear more about that new building very shortly. But first, we'll hear from students who have benefited from supporters like you. Please enjoy this video.
I chose to go to VCU because the diversity at the school is just amazing. As a Muslim student, I didn't really have any friends that were kind of like me, so being able to go to VCU and meet tons of Muslim students and tons of Arab students, that was something that was really important to me. Really throughout my whole life, science has been something that's really interested me, and I'm always thought about studying science for my whole life, and VCU has such great opportunities as far as research and meeting new people and networking.
So having hands-on lab experience is super important because a lot of times your hypothesis may not match your outcome. Being able to critically think through those complexities or when things just don't go the way you expect them to is super important. So like as a physician or whatever specialty you want to go into, if things don't go as planned, you have to have a backup plan. Your work may not always match the textbook or the procedure, but being able to work around those differences is ultimately key to success in life.
For anthropology, depending on what route you want to take in that field, you really need field experience and lab experience, especially in archaeology.
The College of Humanities and Sciences has a multitude of research opportunities available to students.
I'm currently doing research at VCU, and without having those in-person experiences, I would be way behind on all the techniques and stuff. It's something that you can apply pretty much to everyday life, whether you want to be a doctor or whether you want to just go and do research for the rest of your life. So being able to go in and actually do something as opposed to sitting behind a computer screen and collecting data from a simulated lab, it really just makes a whole world of a difference.
I'm looking at graduate programs right now for anthropology, and to really stand out in the application process, you really need to have first like publications, but also that experience working with archaeological data. My project is looking at archaeological fish scales, and it's a part of a bigger project to look at fishing strategies used by ancient people on Easter Island.
There are so many ways for students to be supported in their research or just to branch out and try new things.
Without the scholarships, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this experience because it afforded me the time.
In the future, I hope to become a physician, and so currently I'm doing formal lab research within the Department of Physics. I have a fellowship to do research, and so the 3D printing of biomedical devices translates over to medicine. So in the future, I hope to connect it to and utilize those experiences creating devices.
Welcome back. In our next video, we're going to provide you with an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of our brand new STEM building, again, slated to open in 2023. Please enjoy this video.
We are so excited to share this animated virtual tour of the new STEM building currently under construction on the 800 block of West Franklin Street at the heart of the Monroe Park campus. This building will go a long way in helping us deliver foundational laboratory training in a fully accessible environment designed to support innovative teaching and hands-on learning. When it opens in the fall of 2023, more than 10,000 students and up to 70 courses will be taught here each semester. 8 departments will share space in the building: anthropology, forensic sciences, psychology, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, and kinesiology and health sciences. From the main entrance on Franklin Street, students will encounter a 2-story atrium with a backlit glass panel featuring images from VCU laboratories that will be located in the building. The first floor will have space for the Department of Psychology, including 2 computer labs, a psychology seminar room, and 2 100-seat classrooms designed for team-based learning. The ground floor will also be home to the Math Exchange that accommodates all types of instruction. Level 2 is all about flexible, student-centered environments. On this floor, there are 2 200-seat classrooms with flexible arrangements for team-based learning, the largest team-based learning environment on either of VCU's Richmond campuses. The Science Hub, that serves as a dedicated space for team-based science tutoring, peer mentoring, and supplemental instruction, will also be located on this floor. The mix of biology, forensic sciences, and anthropology laboratory spaces on levels 3, 4, and 5 nearly double the instructional space for our first and second year students, providing them with state-of-the-art laboratories in which to learn. This expansion gives us an opportunity to offer hands-on learning experiences earlier in our students' education. Their greater access to critical, open-ended, and inquiry-based experiences help them develop into active participants in their own learning. Forensic science will have a dedicated crime scene lab on this floor, the only such laboratory in the state of Virginia, as well as this shared lab with anthropology, which is an amazing opportunity to engage students of both majors in interdisciplinary work. Biology will have 8 teaching labs on this floor, as well as a plant growing room, seen here, where freshman students will be able to design experiments and collect data using plants. Level 4 houses space for 6 general chemistry laboratories equipped with snorkel hoods for each student, 5 introductory physics laboratories with 1 dedicated to astronomy, a modern physics laboratory, open and enclosed study spaces, a pre-lab, post-lab classroom space, and offices for laboratory coordinators and teaching assistants. Labs, like the ones found on this floor, greatly increase the number of vented workstations available to underclass students, allowing us to offer important laboratory experiences to students earlier in their course of study. Also located on this floor are additional group workspaces. On level 5, the Department of Chemistry's organic lab space will double with 5 new laboratories. The new labs are outfitted with state-of-the-art ultraviolet visible, infrared, and nuclear magnetic resonance spectrophotometers. With cutting-edge design and modern instrumentation, these laboratories engage our first and second-year students in practical and transformative laboratory training. The sixth floor will be dedicated to the Department of Kinesiology and Health Sciences. Their space will include resistance and biomechanics laboratories, a running track, and other exercise equipment that students can use for movement science experiments. Labs like this one allow students a chance to learn about the physiology of exercise alongside their peers and with the direct input of their faculty. As you can see, the new STEM building is designed with our students and their instruction in mind. This supportive and flexible learning environment is the kind of facility that can be transformational for our science students, welcoming them into a space that supports their individual learning preferences, develops their collaborative and leadership skills, and greatly expands our capacity to offer hands-on experiences. In short, the new STEM lab building helps us make it real for our students.
At this time, I'd like to formally introduce our special guests for the evening, Dr. Jennifer Malat, Dean of the College of Humanities and Sciences, and Dr. Sally Hunnicutt, Associate Dean of Science and Mathematics in the college. Dr. Malat came to VCU in July 2020. Prior to that, she led a long career at the University of Cincinnati, where she most recently served as Divisional Dean for the Social Sciences in the College of Arts and Sciences. During this time, she co-founded and co-directed the Cincinnati Project, a research-intensive program that connected researchers in the College of Arts and Sciences with organizations that serve marginalized people to conduct research with a direct community benefit. Dr. Mallett's research focused on racial inequality and how it affects people's health in the United States. She holds a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Minnesota and a master's and a doctorate, both in sociology, from the University of Michigan. Dr. Hunnicutt began her VCU career in 1997, receiving the VCU College of Humanities and Sciences Teaching Award in 2012 and the President's Distinguished Teaching Award in 2015. She currently serves as the college's Associate Dean of Sciences and Mathematics. Her research interests relate to the creation, use, and impacts of guided inquiry in different classroom environments. Her specific research focused on revisiting physical chemistry laboratory experiments to incorporate guided inquiry and examining the effects of those changes on faculty and students. Dr. Hunnicutt holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Duke University, a master's in chemistry from the University of Utah, and a doctorate in chemistry from the University of Cincinnati. Jennifer and Sally, welcome and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're glad to be here.
Well, I'm going to ask each of you questions, but Dr. Mallett, I'd love to start with you. And first of all, talk about that STEM building. What do you think are some of the exciting opportunities that are going to be presented by that new facility?
Well, everyone just saw the video and all that's there. It's so exciting to watch that and imagine it not just being cartoon students, but actual students all in that space together from all those different departments collaborating, the opportunities to have interactions that aren't planned, and then all of the interactions that are planned is just so exciting. And the celebration it will be of the work that's done in the labs with the backlit walls, with the images. Yes, it's very, very exciting to think about how our student experience will be improved with the addition of the building.
Now, Sally, this facility will be the hub for all foundational lab instruction at VCU. How are the skills that students develop in these courses taught in that building important to their education, research, and future careers?
Yeah, I think the introductory, the gateway level courses are just really critical to students getting engaged in science and math. And so when we can do that in this new space that is really designed for the optimum learning, where they can work in teams, they can collaborate, they can see other courses happening, then I think they're going to get more excited about doing science and be much more likely to stick with it. and remain science majors throughout their careers at VCU.
So Jennifer, why is a facility like this important in the service of VCU's entry-level science students?
Yeah, well, building off what Sally just said, I mean, we look at what opportunities it has for students right when they walk through the door to be in labs that were built for their learning, using what we know about the best learning environments. You know, I think that there's sort of we know now that there's a science to learning. What kinds of environments are best for students? And this building is being built with that in mind. And so it's just thrilling to imagine students on their first day at VCU walking into this new building and being in these group learning environments with movable tables and classrooms that are open and shared space, and having the opportunity to learn there. And like Sally said, setting them up for success for the rest of the time that they're here at VCU.
Now, Sally, our current facilities are much, much different. So what are some of the current challenges for our science departments in terms of those facilities? And how will this new building address those needs?
So many of the laboratories, due to the growth of VCU, have been retrofitted into spaces that weren't designed for laboratory spaces. And the new building is all purpose designed. So for example, the hood spaces are much more effective. The addition of the crime scene lab for the forensic science, which currently they carry out those crime scene experiments in the hallway. They have to set everything up in the hallway. In the new building, they're going to be actually in a dedicated space. And so that's really exciting. It's going to allow for more experiences, more hands-on experiences, doing some real things for our very youngest students, our newest students to the university. So that's really exciting.
So Dr. Mallett, how will this new building change or expand instruction for the STEM students?
Well, in so many ways. I mean, the new space provides new opportunities for active learning, but it also brings the STEM students together into a shared space which I shouldn't just say STEM students, because of course, all of our students, will pass through there. It will be, I have to check my notes, 10,000 students we expect a semester will be taking classes in that building. So that is, and 70 courses a semester. There will be a lot of activity in there. And instead of being spread out, the college is spread out right now all over, which is lovely, being in the old houses and spread all across campus, but there will be a wonderful energy to everyone coming together into this space. I think it's very exciting. And I kind of want to build off what Sally just said about the crime scene classes. They have, they tape the floor in their current hallways to create pretend rooms, and they have all this movable things that they bring into the hall and then have to move back into their storage space in order to create this environment for students. And it, that story that I just told shows the dedication of our faculty and how the students are still having a good experience right now, but to imagine how just absolutely spectacular the experience will be when they're in a space that's created for this learning, it's just thrilling. And then of course we will have, it sort of feels like it's going to be everyone's building as they pass through taking their science and math classes, both in the college and then in other colleges as well, of course, too. Yeah, it's very exciting.
It is, and it's wonderful to walk by it during the construction process and realize what the students are going to benefit from very, very soon. So I want to build on that, what you just said about the different departments, and just talk about what will be offered in the building, and specifically what type of courses, and then how many students or what percentage of the student body in humanities and sciences will actually benefit from this facility.
Do you have the exact numbers on that, Sally?
So I estimated somewhere around 10,000 students this semester will be coming through the building. It's probably close to 80% of students, maybe more, will be before they graduate from VCU, will take courses in this building. So, for example, psychology is, I think, our largest major. So every psychology student, but a lot of students also minor in psychology. So any student who's minoring in psychology, students who are pre-health students, they'll be taking courses, no matter what their major is, they'll be taking courses in the building. The science laboratories, psychology courses. The math department has courses in the building. And then, of course, general chemistry lab is taken by engineering students and outside of the College of Humanities and Sciences as well. And likewise, biology courses. So biology laboratories, physics laboratories, those are taken by engineering students. Business school students are going to be taking math courses in the building. So we're going to be touching students really from across campus, in addition to probably almost all students in the College of Humanities and Sciences. We haven't talked about the 2 lecture rooms that are on the second floor, and there are also some lecture spaces on the first floor. And those spaces, each on the second floor, hold 200 students, and that's team-based learning. That space might be unique to the state of Virginia. I haven't visited every other campus, but it's very unusual to find a space for a class that seats 200 students, where students can really work in teams and they're not fixed in tiered lecture halls. And so we have a number of faculty who are doing that kind of teaching now in lecture halls on campus, and they're very excited to move into this space. And I think a lot more people are going to be interested in trying some of those teaching strategies and pedagogies once we open the new classrooms.
Absolutely. So that's one of the things that I have heard the faculty talk about, how excited they are about the new facilities and equipment that's going to be in the building. So talk a little bit about that. What is going to be unique for the faculty, and what kind of equipment is going to be available to them to really educate the next generation of students?
I keep turning to Sally because Sally, I should give Sally the credit that she deserves on this. Sally is a faculty member who's been involved with thinking about the STEM building and participating in discussions about what would be the best thing to have in there, as well as her own scholarship being about the scholarship of teaching and learning. So, so Sally knows, we think she's the expert in the whole college on what is going to be in this building. So can you answer Jay's question?
Some of it is simple technology, but it's so important. And that is, we're going to have whiteboards everywhere so students can work together and collaborate. Very similar to what you might see if you go into the library on the 3rd and 4th floor, where students are using study rooms. So we're going to have a lot of those spaces in this new building. The math exchange will be moving in, and they have an elliptical space shape. It's not an oval, it is truly an ellipse. And that is very intentional, and their faculty are really excited about having that space to work in. And then again, lots of whiteboards. The laboratory spaces they're built according to the standards of today. And so the hoods are going to be completely transformational for instructors. The kinds of laboratory experiences that we can do in the laboratories now that we will have hoods designed and built in 2021, that's going to make a really big difference. So I think having meeting space in the building is very excited. People is really an opportunity for people to have workshops and have meetings on campus, for getting students together. And having all the labs be in one building, I think, is really exciting to faculty as well. So the students can see because there will be windows, and they'll be able to see what are they doing in general chemistry lab? What are they doing in that anthropology lab? What are they doing in the organic chemistry lab? Because they have to go up to the 5th floor, but that's okay. They can make it up to that floor.
Now, one of VCU's goals is to attract and retain underrepresented minority students in the sciences and the math majors. What role do you think this new building is going to play in reaching that goal?
Well, if I can speak to the research that people like Sally have done, we know that when we used team teaching methods, it's team learning methods where the students work together to solve problems, the success of women and students of color both increase in those environments. So it is a wonderful opportunity to promote success in science and technology and math fields among all of our students. And in the college, we're so proud of how diverse our student population is. It is wonderful that we'll be able to have facilities where we can teach in a way that promotes all students' success. Do you want to add anything to what I said?
I think I'll just go back to a point we talked about earlier, and that is that the research also shows that getting students into the lab doing laboratory experiments as early as possible in their careers is really beneficial. And so the sooner that we can get students comfortable in the lab so that they could even transition into doing research and research labs anywhere on campus, I think that's really a fantastic outcome for all our students, but especially for our students of color.
And I have one more thing that I have thought of too, and that is that we show our students how we value them by what kind of environment we provide for their learning on campus. And so in that way as well, I'm really excited to have this beautiful new building when students come to show them we are glad you're here and we value your being here and we have invested in your education.
Absolutely. Now, the last question I have before we go to the question and answer from the audience is, what are you both most excited about when you look at all of the new pieces of this building? When you think about this building, what are you individually most excited about?
Do you want to go first?
Well, I'm excited to teach in those classrooms that are interactive because I like to teach that in that way. And I'm really excited to teach a large general chemistry class to 200 students in that space. That personally, from a more of an associate dean standpoint, I'm very excited about when the students start to occupy that space. I'm really looking forward to walk through and seeing them work in small groups or individually and using that whiteboard space and studying things like that.
Right.
And I think that I'm also excited about seeing the students in the space and imagining, well, we will see it, the energy that will come from all of those students being together, and the ability to see what's happening in the labs will make it feel like it will be a hub of activity and it will be visible. The other thing I'm excited about is that we get a shiny new building in the college, and we all want a shiny new building, and there will be space in there also to host events, as we've mentioned. And so I hope that we'll also see some people who are watching this event tonight. We can maybe see them in person once they're able to come. And 2023, it's a ways off, but not so far. Time will pass quickly and we'll be able to be in our new building.
Absolutely. And it is amazing, Sally, I remember when this was first on the drawing board, and then we started having conversations with the architects, and you would walk that site. And at the time, it was hard to envision that building on that site, but it fits perfectly, and it looks like it's going to be just absolutely wonderful. So I share in your excitement. I can't wait to be in this facility. And it's one of the first new buildings for the college in some time. So.
Yes, we are very excited for it.
Well, I want to thank both of you for that section. I'd also like to open it up to our audience to ask some questions. So if you do want to ask a question, you can submit your question in the Q&A chat box on the bottom of your screen. Type your question in there, and then I'll be able to answer or ask as many of these as possible in the time that we have. So the very first question that we have is, Where did you two find encouragement to pursue STEM or leadership roles? And just describe that encouragement a little bit.
Wow, what a good question.
I think I have been encouraged by individuals all my life who, starting with my family, who supported my interests in both chemistry and in teaching, and then my mentors and my graduate school mentors, both my master's mentor, Chuck White at the University of Utah, and my Ph.D. mentor, Joyce Guest at the University of Cincinnati. And then I've had a number of fantastic department chairs when I worked at here at VCU, and who always supported my professional development, my interests in growing and trying to find collaborators. So Fred Hawkridge, Nick Farrell, Scott Gronert, and Sammy Al-Shal. So they've always supported my efforts to grow professionally. And now I can say the same thing about working with Dean Mallett in the dean's office.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're in the dean's office. I always say that I'm glad that people agreed to join and to stay in their roles. And I think, like Sally, I would say for my academic trajectory, I also credit mentors along the way, particularly in graduate school. I should actually go all the way back when I was in, and I won't go back to the beginning. Don't worry, Jay. But when I was in college, I didn't plan to go to graduate school, and I asked one of my the people who had been advising me on my thesis when I was a senior in college to be a reference for me so I could apply for a job, and he said, you could go to graduate school. And I hadn't even considered going to graduate school. So really it started there pushing me toward thinking about pursuing a PhD. And then, I don't know, I think it's the people along the way who support you and encourage you that lead to being in leadership roles. And I think for myself, the most significant factor was just coming to realize that my authentic self and what I had to bring to leadership could be valuable and could help move, colleges forward. And so, yeah, that's how I ended up here.
The next question is, which semester of 2023 will the new building open? I honestly don't know that.
I've always thought it's the fall, but
the construction meetings, they're saying that they plan to be finished in the spring with the building. We'll be moving in the summer. So that's also takes quite a bit of coordination. And there's some really fantastic people working on that. And so we'll be open for the fall of 2023 for classes.
Okay, very, very good. The next question is, why are the innovations in curriculum and teaching, or what are the innovations in curriculum and teaching that will be supported by this new facility?
Starting on the ground floor with the math exchange, there's a lot of collaboration space. There's space for students to explore in small groups and individually, but also come together for instruction in larger groups when needed. And there are a number of different teaching pedagogies that the math faculty are going to workshops and learning about and applying right now, and they'll be able to continue doing that in the new building. Certainly in those spaces that I've already talked about, where we'll have, instead of the tiered lecture hall, where the instructor is kind of the sage on the stage, there are multiple screens, and the students will be working in teams on activities. So people may have heard of flipped classrooms, or they may have heard of guided inquiry. So they'll be coming into the classroom and building their knowledge in teams, but guided by the instructors. The instructor's role is still really critical, but having that space be purposely designed that way makes it much easier for students to work in teams. If you're sitting on a row, it's very hard to turn and talk to each other and face each other. But when you're sitting at a round table, it's much easier to accomplish that.
Very, very good. The next question is for Dr. Mallett. I have read about your Cincinnati project. Are there aspects of this project which are applicable to the city of Richmond?
All right. So yes, one of the things that is really exciting about the college that I have come to appreciate as I have spent more time here is the extent to which there is already a lot of community engagement happening in the college. Every department is as big of, of a range of kinds of research and scholarship and teaching that happen in the college. Every single department has at least some folks who are doing teaching and research that connects with the city, that has students out in the city working with community partners to do research projects that benefit the community and bring more equity to the community or help solve problems that need to be solved, or faculty who have research projects that work in the same way. And I am very excited to talk more about this. That's what my reaction to your question was, probably one of delight, because I am very excited about what we can build. And I want to tell those stories more and then also put into place some structure so that we can promote more of that activity. I think as a public research institution who's here in the city, there's so much that we can do to be good partners, and we already are, but we can expand that in Richmond.
Very, very good. Well, those were the questions that were asked. So I want to thank you all for your wonderful insights and your great questions for our guests tonight. My special thanks to Dr. Mallett and Dr. Hunnicutt for joining us tonight and sharing their vision for the future of the sciences in the College of Humanities and Sciences. I'd also like to thank everyone for turning out tonight and for your continued support of VCU. Your support of our students and faculty make a meaningful difference for our university community, and we are so very, very grateful. Thank you again for joining us tonight, and have a great evening.